G'day, I'm Paul. There are some cars that I enjoy driving all cars, but there are some cars that I'm genuinely excited to get behind the wheel of, and this is one of them. It is the new Hyundai Ioniq 5N. And just a little bit of background, I had the chance to drive what would, I guess, be the prototype version of some of the parts that are used on this car in the RN22E. Then I had the chance to drive this on ice as well as part of the development process. And today it is finally here in production trim. I get to get behind the wheel of it. We have a stack of really exciting content coming up on this that I'm very excited to share with you. But what does this compete with? So Kia EV6 GT, effectively, same platform, different integration of some of this technology. Model Y performance, that's sort of similar in terms of what they're trying to achieve with this. And then probably the other one as well is the Ford Mustang Mach-E GT. So does the Ioniq 5N live up to the hype? That's what we want to find out today. It's going to set you back $111,000. So it is only available in one specification. Today we're going to do a detailed review of this. So if you do want to skip ahead to other parts of this review, you can use the time codes that are on the screen. Or if you're on YouTube, you can scroll down and use the chapters below. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you can find out every single time my shirt matches the car. Let's talk exterior design. And by the way, we've actually shot another video with this car going through all of the N performance settings and modes and stuff like that. So you can find a link to that in the description below. Now, all your colors are free of charge except the matte colors. They're going to cost you $1,000 extra. This is one of those. It's white, but a matte finish. Looks fantastic in person. And I love the offset of the white against some of the other colors on the vehicle. This actually is a facelift for the Ioniq 5. Some of the features inside the cabin are new, so I'll run you through all of that stuff, and that will filter down to the rest of the Ioniq 5 range as well. In terms of the design up the front here, when this was, I guess, in prototype trim, they still had a whole bunch of cladding and camo on it, so I couldn't really tell what this was going to look like. And I'm glad that this looks totally different to a standard Ioniq 5. With the EV6 GT, it looks quite similar, so sometimes you really got to look hard to see what the difference is. Whereas with this, when you see this in traffic, you know that this is an N version of the Ioniq 5. So down the front here, you've got these slatted areas that are open down this middle section. Red stripe there for the N, and then N badge over here as well. You have variable vanes down here too, so they can open and close depending on your cooling requirements. This actually has quite a lot of additional cooling technology to prepare the vehicle for drag racing, and then also for driving at the racetrack as well. So that is the whole purpose of this and why this stuff is so important here, particularly on this vehicle, because cooling will be a critical part to this achieving repeatable acceleration times. Black Hyundai badge up the top there. You've got some gills on the side here for additional aero and cooling for the braking system. This is fitted standard with a 21-inch forged alloy wheel. Behind here though, have a look at these brakes. They are absolutely enormous. So 400mm ventilated rotor. It's a monoblock 4-piston caliper, so it is a serious braking package. Slightly smaller at the rear, but the whole point of this car is that you shouldn't really have to rely on the brakes too much. They have so much regen available here for sporty driving that this can virtually get up to its ABS braking point before you actually have to start using the friction brakes. So I'm excited to see what that's like, because a lot of manufacturers have tried to do that but haven't got it right. Let's see if Hyundai has actually achieved that. Flared wheel arches here. This sits on a wider track. In fact, the dimensions are slightly different here to a standard Ioniq 5. So it's 80mm longer, 50mm wider, and I'll show you where you can see the biggest impact of that at the rear, and then 20mm lower. So it is definitely different in terms of its dimensions, and you can see here in person that it does look a little bit more hunkered lower to the ground and wider on the road as well. Big set of tyres too. We're talking about 275 wide. And this is on the optional P0 Corsa, so it is very much a sporty-oriented tyre with a sticky profile to it. Now, around here, you can also get an optional glass roof. That is the only other thing you can get in addition to the matte paint. Everything else is standard. Privacy glass over here. This is where you're going to notice that extra track width. Have a look at that. It bulges out over here, and this stuff is added onto the vehicle for the purpose of the tyre not sticking out. So you can see all the way down here, you've got aero elements there, and then N here here off to the side. And again, 275 wide tyres at the rear here as well. So you can see that proportion just sticks out as you come around to the rear of the vehicle. So speaking of which, come around to the back with me. Now around the back, you've got some aggressive but functional aero. Spoiler up the top here with a cutout section there for air to come down on that rear window. Got a brake light integrated up the top here. Camera here for the digital rear view camera. Got shark fin aerial over there, pixel LED lights, and have a look at this again. With that extension of the sides, they've molded all of this in so it has quite a sort of fat rear on it. Diffuser down the bottom here as well with those red highlights, and that's finished in piano black with an N badge off to the side there. Ioniq 5 lettering just there as well. So it is big, it looks big. So let me know what you reckon in the comments section below. Do you like the look of it? Do you think that this is aggressive enough? Let me know what you reckon in the comments section below. So we are inside the Ioniq 5N. I'll show you what the key looks like first. So you've got lock, unlock, remote start. You have remote park here as well, boot button, and then the N badge there on the key. Proximity key, so you can leave that in your pocket. You've got a push button start just here. So I mentioned before, this interior has been updated as part of, I guess, a minor facelift for Ioniq 5. Probably the biggest difference you're going to notice is this whole center section. I don't know whether I love it or don't love it, but it is very different. If you recall, the old one basically had like a pass-through here in the center. All of this stuff was further back. You had a big open section in the middle. Now made it a bit more usable, but like we're seeing in a bunch of other EVs as well, there's just no way to keep stuff concealed from the outside. You've got your glove box and all that sort of stuff, but when you're putting stuff here, you can see it from the outside. So you shouldn't keep valuables in the car, but on the occasion that you do, they're going to be visible. So yeah, so I think it's good and bad at the same time. In terms of visually though, you've got new infotainment system that I'll run you through in just a second. You still have that magnetic pad off to the side as well for pictures and other bits and pieces. And then this steering wheel, which is unique to the Ioniq 5N. So you've got buttons here for all the performance settings as well. So yeah, all looks very nice and good. Now, in terms of your touch points, so that is firm there, but soft on the door. How soft are they? We've got our durometer. We've tested the main surfaces in this cabin. If you do want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, look at the link in the description below. Now, build quality. What's it like? It all feels really nice and solid. And this is our door slam. Moving on to infotainment, so you've got two 12.3-inch displays. Infotainment screen is a touchscreen, but this has the latest infotainment system from Hyundai, which means you have connected services. You've got an SOS button up here and a blue link button just next to it. You can connect to the vehicle using your phone as well. So it's all really cool technology, and it also has connectivity to look at things like weather and stuff like that. So it'll use the internet to pull all of this data for us. Now, what else can you do here? So this EV menu is interesting. So while we've been sitting here, you can see that the electronics in the car are using 0.3 kilowatts, and it just gives you an idea of what your vehicle is doing, where the energy is going, nearest charger, battery status. It's actually not a bad little menu there that gives you all the information that you need. In addition to that, you have inbuilt satellite navigation. So you've got shortcut buttons down the bottom here for things like your map. So there it is there. You can pop back to the home screen. You also have this shortcut menu up the top there as well. And you can also configure that too. Smartphone mirroring, you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. They're both wireless. I've got it plugged up at the moment to charge my phone, but takes up the full screen there. Nice and quick, sharp and easy. Very impressed with that. And this is what Android Auto looks like. So nice full screen integration there. Very good. Quick and easy to use as well. Now, in addition to all of that, you have voice memo, which is great. The valet mode as well, if you're going to leave your car, with the valet calendar, and then a couple of other sort of bits and pieces there too. Radio comes in the form of an 8-speaker Bose branded sound system with AM, FM, and DAB digital radio. Sound system is great, which is good if you're into your music. You've got screen ahead of the driver as well. When you change drive modes, this all changes as well. Have a look at that. So depending on which drive mode you're in, it basically adjusts itself. So a lot of configuration there to play with, which is nice and cool. Now, that sound you could hear just before is the vehicle grumbling, and that is because it has, I don't even know how to describe it. It has fake engine sounds. So I'll run you through that when we go for a drive. Then on the safety front, you have autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection, auto dimming rear vision mirror with a digital rear view mirror built into there as well. You've got a blind spot monitor built into the wing mirror, but also a blind spot camera that pops up here on the screen. You have radar cruise control. You also have front and rear autonomous emergency braking and also front and rear parking sensors and a 360 camera. I'll show you what that looks like. There it is there. So very high quality. I can clearly see what's on the suitcase. So that's front view, rear view. You have a 360 view as well. You can spin that around to see what's going on with the car too. So look at that. There are actually so many settings here to play with. You got wheel cam as well. Very nice. Very impressive. And this is what the horn sounds like. So practicality, what are we working with here? So we'll start off with your connectivity. So you've got two USB-C ports up the front here. You can actually switch between just charging or interface for your smartphone mirroring just by pressing that button, which is cool. Wireless phone charging pad just there as well. Another USB-C port here and a 12-volt outlet as well. Two cup holders down the bottom here. They hold the coffee cup in nicely, and then you can retract those as well when they're not in use, which is good. Bottle storage, so you can fit your bottle there just fine. But does your big bottle fit inside the door? Yes, it does. Good news. Other storage, you got this center console here that slides forward as well if you need more space. Pretty small though, not exactly massive. You do have storage under here as well. And then finally, you have glove box storage in there as well, which is actually a pretty generous looking space. Moving on to comfort. So you have dual zone automatic climate control up the front here. You have heated and cooled seats for the driver and front passenger. You also have heated steering wheel as well. Let's talk about the seats. So I like the fact that they have the light up N logo there. That's pretty cool. They are both manually adjustable. And to me, that sounded pretty cheap for a $111,000 car, but there is rationale to it. So they actually wanted the seat to sit lower, and they couldn't achieve it sitting as low as they wanted with an electric seat because of the rails that it sits on and the motor that you need. So gone down the path of these manual seats, and I've got to tell you, you do actually, so the vehicle itself is 15 mil lower, but the seat itself is lower again. So you actually are sitting in a kind of like a hot hatch position here. So that definitely helps. Steering is manually adjustable and offers both tilt and reach adjustment. And on our reach test, all of that stuff is easy to reach. For the screen, if you do need to get anything on the outside there, it's just a little bit of a lean in. Now, second row, what's it like back here? So we'll start with room. Knee room's good, toe room not very good. So one of the downsides of lowering these seats is you don't have really a great deal of toe room. Headroom is great though. This sits on a big wheelbase, so it means that you are afforded a bit of space here to stretch out if you need. N logos on the back of the seats, no map pockets. This kind of looks like a robot, I reckon. You've got the eyes up the top there, but USB-C charging there. You've got air vents here in the side as well. You've got manual privacy blinds there too, and in addition to that, you can slide this row forwards and backwards to give yourself a bit more boot room. You've got a vehicle to load little power socket just here as well. 16 amps too, so not bad in terms of power output as well. You have ISOFIX on the outboard seats and then 3 top tether points as well. Now window test, so it's manual up and down. Oh, so close. Now let's talk cargo space. I'll pop this open. So you've got 480 litres of cargo space to work with, and then you also have a little bit of storage under the floor here as well. Nothing sort of too crazy there. If you think of the Model Y, it actually has a lot of underfloor storage there, so this is kind of a bit of a step back from that. I'll show you what it looks like with our bags in there. So laptop bag just there, and suitcase just here. So gives you a bit of an idea of how much space you have to work with. You have a 12-volt outlet off to the side here as well, in addition to that V2L setup. And you can expand the space a little bit more if you want. So all you need to do is drop the second row. Once you drop that down, you've got around 1,500 litres of cargo space to work with. But keep in mind, this does rise when it comes up to here. And unlike non-N variants, you don't actually get any storage under the front either. Now let's talk battery and charging. So you open this little flap up here, you have both AC and DC charging. So the battery, 84 kilowatt hours, usable capacity is around 80 kilowatt hours. This is a lithium ion, an NMC battery, which means you should only be charging it to around 80% for day-to-day use. Charging though, 800 volt architecture on the eGMP platform. That means it'll charge at over 200 kilowatts as peak and also just over 200 kilowatts as an average charge rate. So this is fantastic in terms of charge speed. You also have the ability to charge at 3-phase up to 11 kilowatts. In terms of your driving range, so about 450 kilometers on the WLTP cycle as well. So we've just hit the road in the Ioniq 5, and now there is a lot to get through here, so I'm going to just keep throwing numbers at you. If at any point during the video you need to pause to have a look at it all, go for it. So dual electric motors, one on the front axle, one on the rear axle. There is some trickery that goes on here though. So front axle has torque vectoring, rear axle has an electronically controlled limited slip differential. So it is sort of fairly advanced there in terms of what you're able to achieve with the vehicle. In terms of power output, so front motor comes in at 166 kilowatts of power, rear motor 282. That's just when you're in standard mode. If you do want to press this button, N-Grin boost, it's N-Grin shift in regular internal combustion cars, you push that and it comes up here saying it's ready. It gives you a few extra seconds of boost. When you've done that, it bumps outputs up to 175 kilowatts and 350 kilowatts for the front and rear respectively. And that is 370 Newton meters and 400 Newton meters when you're in that mode. And that gives you a combined total output of 478 kilowatts of power and 770 Newton meters of torque. I mean, that is just... This is some genuinely outrageous numbers, so it's a pretty impressive setup there. It's a single speed, effectively. It doesn't have a 2-speed transmission like the Taycan does, yet this is still able to achieve 260 kilometers an hour as a maximum speed. They've been able to achieve that by increasing the RPM of the motors. They can spin up to over 20,000 RPM, and that is what gives you the ability to have that really top-end speed. So they have thought of everything here. There's also thermal management for the battery. You've got 2 modes, drag mode and track mode, and it will basically vary the battery temperature and keep it within its optimum range for the type of driving that you're doing. So pretty sort of clever setup there. Just for road driving though, Hyundai claims a combined economy of a little over 21 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. We are averaging over 24 though, so that includes predominantly highway driving and then a bit of idling here while the guys were doing some detail shots. So yeah, this is one of those vehicles that is going to consume a bit more energy, and that is simply because you are working with a high performance drivetrain. So don't expect this to be super efficient because it's not going to be that type of car. So in terms of your regen modes, you've got 3 to pick from. You can go all the way to 0, which is just coasting, 1, 2, 3. And then if you go to iPedal, it basically is your max regen where it will bring the car to a full stop. It's like a single pedal driving mode, so pretty cool in terms of the way that works. In terms of visibility, I can see clearly down the front of the car there. Wing mirrors are nice and big. Visibility out the back is fine as well, but you also have the digital mirror just in case you want to see properly out there too. And then on the parking front, you've got front and rear parking sensors. You've got the blind spot camera that comes up there in the cluster. It really is just a car that you can drive as a daily if you want to. Now on road noise, yes, it is going to be a little noisier, especially on these tyres, which are the optional tyre you can get. Now we did test it up against our calibrated sound meter if you do want to see how this compares to other cars that we've tested before. Have a look at the link in the description below. Now let's talk about the ride. So adaptive damping. At the back, you actually have a completely different suspension setup to the standard Ioniq 5. And it was quite cool because this not only has a local ride and handling tune, it also has input from one of our local engineers who spent time during the development program with Hyundai's global engineers on this vehicle, and in particular the rear suspension. So this has a lot of Australian input, and it's really cool to see that they have thought about all that stuff for Australian customers. Now what does that mean for our sine waves? So let's bump up the speed. In and around town, it's actually quite comfortable. It's nowhere near as firm as I thought it'd be. And then we've got the sine waves here, which we do at 130 k's an hour. So we'll dial up the speed and see what that's like. Fantastic. It's really good. So compared to the original Ioniq 5 that we drove, all the changes they've made here to the suspension system definitely make a difference. It feels genuinely like a completely different car. So I'm quite impressed with the way they've got it all set up. You will notice though, when you are driving just in normal mode, you get a bit of tram lining, and that is the effect that you get when you have super direct steering. And what the go is basically every divot in the road, the wheels are just finding them and moving around within them, and you're getting that effect in the vehicle. It's like you're on a tram where it's a fixed rail. it tries to find the road constantly. So that's something you're going to find with a lot of high performance cars, and this is no exception. So it means it's a good steering setup, but you will have to compromise just a little bit there in terms of steering comfort as you're driving. Now, there are so many drive modes here to work with, and I think what we might do is run through our track here in sport mode, and then we'll come back and do an N custom mode that I've got set up. So we've got eco, normal, and sport. So let's go for a little drive around the track here now in sport mode. Just dial up some revs. Holy moly, it absolutely goes. Okay, so I've got it in iPedal max mode at the moment. Nice. So we're still getting a bit of warmth into the tyres here. We've got P0 Corsas on, so they are a track-focused tyre, but they do need some temperature in them. Yeah, this is absolutely hoofing along here, and this is just in sport mode. My goodness, far out. Okay, so iPedal Max is basically where the car will do single pedal driving, and it will come to a full stop if it needs to. Let's see what it's like on the tram tracks here. That is fantastic. So in terms of brake pedal feel, they've got a electric brake booster, and that's basically able to give you linear brake pedal feel regardless of whether it's on the friction brakes, the mechanical braking system, or the regen system. Back straight, load onto the throttle there, far out. That is absolutely hauling. All right, stomp on these brakes. Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah, it is remarkable what they've been able to do there. It is hauling along nicely. Earlier in the day, I actually did 7 fast laps here at full attack mode and did not get any brake fade. Tyres were still intact, temperatures were still good. I mean, it's quite impressive what they've done here in terms of thermal management and just getting everything to sort of work together. What we're going to do now for our second lap, though, I'm going to go over to the N track setting. There's just so many settings you can choose from here, and I'll pop it into N pedal mode. Now, what this does, you've got a warning there as well. What this does is it makes it incredibly aggressive in terms of the regen. It's going all the way up until just before the ABS point with regen. It is an incredible amount of regen you're able to achieve. It means you're relying less on the brakes as well. So I'm going to hit my N Custom 1 setting, which is basically everything in the aggressive setting outside of steering. Okay, let's go for another lap now. Oh, this is even more aggressive. Far out. Okay, this is in ESC Sport as well, so we'll... Oh, nice. Gives you just a little bit of play there at the rear, and then you can just lean on the throttle out of the corner. Far out. The suspension is firm in this setting, but... Oh, far out. Okay. I've got to concentrate here because this is... I actually think this is the quickest car we've driven here. It is unbelievable. Far out. I just absolutely lost for words how fast it is going around here at the moment. Lap after lap, it is giving us full assault here on the back straight. Far out. I'm genuinely lost for words. This is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So just as a bit of context, Tesla Model Y performance by the third lap here, brakes were fading. Mustang Mach-E, we got like a lap out of that before it started doing its power degradation. With the Mustang, it was quite a hot day when we were testing, but still it was nowhere near this in terms of what this is able to achieve at the moment in terms of performance. It is genuinely impressive what they've been able to do here with this package. Like I said, this is the quickest car we've driven here before, and that is internal combustion or electric. It just picks up and slingshots out of a corner. Body sits dead flat. Even when it's hitting bumps mid-corner, it doesn't have that floaty effect that this car has without all of this performance stuff. It is just something else altogether, and you can see that Bierman has just put so much effort into this. That's Albert Bierman, the head engineer of the N program, or former. He's put so much effort into this, and you can feel behind the wheel that this actually feels like, I guess, a classic BMW where everything is about performance and everything is about the way the driver feels behind the wheel. This is like a go-kart on steroids. It's ridiculous. I mean, just have a look at the tyre marks we've left here. It's It is just something else. I'm so impressed with that. Now, other settings that you've got available to you here. Like I said before, we're going to shoot another video where I go through everything, but I'll just give you the high level stuff here. So you've got N torque distribution, allows you to split between front and rear torque distribution or any sort of variables in between. You've got the N pedal mode that we just ran through, N race, which basically does maximum cooling for the vehicle so that you can keep assaulting it back to back. Like I said, after 7 laps, we still weren't anywhere near needing to put any of this cooling on. So it just shows you how much leeway it has there. Drift optimizer, which is for fun drifting stuff, which I'll show you in the other video. You've got N battery management. So if you want to go into drag mode, you can basically enable that to keep the battery temps low to give you that constant acceleration. Track mode, same story again. And if you jump over here to the performance options, you've got all of the custom settings there for your N buttons here on the steering wheel. You can also then put noise on. So let me show you what that looks like. So this is called ignition. So it sounds like a traditional internal combustion car. This is called evolution. I don't even know what that sounds like. This is called supersonic. Sounds like a jet. It is just full of these little gadgets and tricks. And then the N-Green boost. So one push of that and it will give us our maximum acceleration potential for 10 seconds. So bloody awesome. Okay, now we're back in normal mode. Let's go do bumpy road. See what this is like if you do want to go to the country on 21s. We do this at 90 k's an hour just to see what the ride quality is like. This is remarkably good. You've got to remember, this is a bona fide sports car and we're cruising over this stuff with no issues at all. Look at that. Fantastic. Very, very impressive. Now, given you're going to be driving this as a daily, let's have a look at what it's like in terms of its semi-autonomous systems. This has the same annoying stuff that you're going to find in other Kia and Hyundai products where it just beeps at you constantly. So first thing you're going to do is switch it all off before you start driving. Annoying, but it is what it is. Okay, so we do this at 70 k's an hour. We'll set the cruise control and then we test our 3 outer lanes to see how well this system works. So there it is there. Turn that on as well. Okay, so it's designed to keep the vehicle in the center of its lane. So lane 1 is good here. Let's jump over to the next one. Okay, lane 2, let's see how that goes. A little jittery there at the start, but it's keeping us nice and centered, which is good. And then final one is lane 3. Pop it up here and see how this works. Okay, wait for that steering to go green. It's not liking it, it's flashing at us. It doesn't look like it wants to engage here in this lane. Yeah, it's not going green. So, all right, so pass in lane 1 and 2, but we didn't even get it to engage here in lane 3. All good. Now, time to do some performance driving or straight line performance driving. I wanted to tell you about Help Me CarExpert. If you do want to find out more about other cars on the internet, some comparisons, we've got stacks of reviews. We can also hook you up with a dealer who has these cars in stock at the moment and hopefully get you a better deal. Just go to Google, type in Help Me CarExpert, and that will be all the information you need. Now, official 0 to 100 time is 3.5 seconds, but that is without N-Green boost running. If you use N-Green boost, it goes down to 3.4. So what I thought I'd do is pop it over to sport mode. And I thought, let's just see what it's like using sport mode to start with. Then I'll go to like a faster setting. And then the final one that I'll do is go to N-Green boost. I do have it in drag mode for the battery. So the battery temperature has been optimized. Alrighty, here we go. So we're going to go through to 120. So we'll see how that goes. All right, here we go. Oh, it is quick. All right, far out, it is quick. So it felt a tiny bit laggy off the line there without launch control. So I'll be interested to see how much it changes with launch control. So 0 to 100, 3.77. And that was even with that slight bit of lag just there. 80 to 120, 1.89 seconds. Holy moly, that is incredible. Okay, now, let's try launch control without N-Green boost running. I'm going to put it in N mode turn on launch control. Cool thing here is you've got 3 different settings for launch control. You can put it on low grip, medium grip, or high grip. Here, I think this is probably suitable for high grip, so I'll turn that on. That's activated. Foot on the brake, foot on the throttle. You've got a little launch control flag there, and you've got a message here as well. So let's give this a shot. There it is. So release brake. Oh my God. That is ridiculous. Far out. That is ridiculous. That just jammed me back in the seat. That felt quicker than the first run, so let's have a look there. That time around 0 to 100, 3.57 seconds, and then 80 to 120, 1.76 seconds. So that was quicker as well. Whew. All right, let's go back, and now let's try the fastest setting, which I think is N-Green Boost and Launch Control. And I might even just try switching stability control off as well, just to see if we get a little bit of extra slip off the line there. So let's give that a crack. So let's roll in. I've got ESC off this time. And N-Green Boost will go on, then brake and throttle. So here we go. Okay. And, oh, Jesus. Oh my God. That is just insanity. All right. Let's see how that went. You know what, when launch control is active, I can actually see the boost thing there. So maybe it actually enables N-Green Boost when launch control is active. I reckon that could be the ticket there. So 3.67 seconds that time. So slightly slower than before with stability control off. So it looks like the quickest way to do it is N mode, then launch control, and that seems like it runs N-Green Boost mode as well. So this thing is very quick. And I think if we had some more charge, we're at 49% now. If we had some more charge, we'd probably easily get into the 3.4 second mark. So it is phenomenally quick for what it is. So yeah, that is unreal. Okay, time to do a brake from 100, see how well this tire and brake package pulls up for us. So there's over 100 now, and here we go. That's good. It is interesting when I dive for the brake, it kind of is confused a little bit there right at the start, but then it sort of starts slowing down nicely. So 2.71 seconds, 36.67 meters. That is seriously good for a vehicle that weighs 2.2 tons. Getting it to pull up that quickly is quite an impressive feat. So good job, Hyundai. Now, reverse acceleration test. How quickly will it go in reverse? Here we go. Oh, this is very modest. 48, 49, 50 kilometers an hour. So Hyundai Ioniq 5N. Actually, before I forget, we did another video where I ran through all of those cool features and we kind of destroyed some tires. You can go to the link in the description below to check that out. What do I think of this? This is, and I'm trying not to make this sound too big and wonderful, but this is the best performance EV you can buy today. And caveat to that is I haven't driven the new Taycan GT, but this is much more nimble than a Taycan. It has repeatable performance. It has all the gizmos and gadgets you need to keep you safe, to keep you happy, and to faff around with stuff as well if you want some traditional car noises. It is incredible around the track here. It goes so hard, and it is very hard to pick a fault with it when it comes to it being a performance vehicle. So yeah, that is my summary of the Ioniq 5N. Yes, it does weigh 2.2 tons, but around here, it just feels so quick, so balanced, and so well placed that you feel in control of it the entire time. Now, let me know, have you bought one? In the comments section below, what is it like? Are you enjoying it? Because I cannot get the smile off my face. I'm keen to see what you think. Let me know down there. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. But until next time, take it easy.